Everyone saw her as just another woman walking through the gate, until the cadet pressed a gun to her forehead, and she didn't even flinch. Her silence that day became the most feared sound on base. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. It started on a blinding afternoon at Camp Ridgefield, the kind of day when tempers ran hotter than the sun. A group of new cadets had gathered behind the barracks, bragging, laughing, trying to prove who was tougher. Among them stood Cadet Miller, young, impulsive, with too much pride and not enough restraint. When he saw her walking by, the woman with a calm stride and a scar tracing down her jaw, he decided to make her a target of his mockery. "Hey, ma'am," he called out, smirking. "You lost? This area's for soldiers, not tourists." She stopped, turned slowly, and looked him in the eye. No anger, just stillness. "I'm exactly where I need to be," she said softly. That calmness only fueled their arrogance. One of the cadets lifted a training pistol, not realizing the weight of his next action, or the truth about the person standing before him. He pressed the barrel against her forehead. The group erupted in laughter. For a second, no one breathed, not even her. Then she spoke, her voice like gravel and steel. "You just made the biggest mistake of your career, son." The laughter died. Something about her tone sliced through the air. Even the wind seemed to pause. The cadet stammered, lowering the pistol slightly. "It's just a joke." "Does this look like a joke to you?" she interrupted. Her eyes, sharp, trained, and unblinking, carried the weight of places none of them had ever been. The silence grew unbearable. Somewhere behind them, a door opened. Officers stepped out, drawn by the commotion. "Stand down," one of them barked, rushing over, but the woman didn't move. She simply reached into her jacket pocket and handed over a folded ID. When the officer saw it, his expression drained of color. He snapped to attention. "Ma'am, Major Evelyn Hart, United States Marine Corps." "We didn't know." The cadets froze. The gun fell from Miller's hand, clattering against the concrete. Every rumor they'd ever heard about Marine recon officers, ghosts who moved through war zones without backup, suddenly had a face. Major Hart looked at the trembling cadet. "You don't point a weapon at someone unless you're ready for the consequences. Out there, hesitation costs lives. In here, arrogance destroys character." Her words weren't shouted. They didn't need to be. Each syllable landed heavier than the one before. A small crowd had gathered. Soldiers, maintenance workers, even kitchen staff. They watched, silent, as the young cadet's pride crumbled before the Marine who had seen more than they could imagine. Then something unexpected happened. She stepped forward and picked up the gun from the ground. Instead of reprimanding further, she held it out to Miller. "Try again," she said quietly. This time, with discipline, with respect. The cadet hesitated, trembling. Then he took the weapon, adjusted his stance, and held it correctly. She nodded once. "That's the difference between playing soldier and becoming one." And with that, she turned and walked away, her boots crunching over gravel, the air still charged with what had just unfolded. Days later, the story spread across the camp. No one talked about the gun anymore. They talked about the way she handled fear, the way she turned a humiliation into a lesson. Cadet Miller would later say it was the day he grew up. Years afterward, when he became an officer himself, he kept a photo of that moment in his locker, not as shame, but as a reminder of the Marine who taught him what strength really meant. Because courage isn't loud, it's quiet, calm, and terrifyingly certain. And sometimes, the ones you mock are the very people keeping you safe. Before you scroll, tell me, what would you have done if you were in her place? If this story moved you, make sure to subscribe to Relieved Stories for more true stories of courage, redemption, and justice that deserve to be heard.